nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to the Managing Madrid Podcast. It is September 13th and Real Madrid just by the skin of their teeth. What's the expression? I don't know. But just hanging on for dear life in that second half, escape with 3 points, and we take those 3 points and run. And what do they say, Lucas? What is it? It's not football. It's what?
It's La Liga.
It's definitely something. It's definitely something. Wow. What was a very good first half performance, just thrown in the dustbin because of a ridiculous red card decision that I can't quite fathom. We'll get to it. Real Madrid win 2-1. There's a lot to unpack here. Lucas, where do you want to start?
I think it's our own fault for wasting hours of our lives watching this travesty of a competition year in and year out. It's just it just makes me sick to my stomach, man. How these decisions can ruin my weekend when you know these are literally professionals who have their own lives taken care of and all that. But it just makes me sick to my stomach how they keep trying to justify these decisions. Gritty win by Real Madrid, good win to get the 3 points after what happened and what occurred on the field of play today once again. But yeah, this competition is just something that it's probably our own fault that we keep watching and we keep, you know, deploying our best players and our big stars in this travesty of a competition.
I just want to say I hate that we're talking about this already. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not anybody's fault. We come here to analyze football. That's what we like to pride ourselves on in this podcast. But when this dude, the same dude who blew off Bellingham's game winner at the Mestalla, whistle in the mouth, waiting for Bellingham to score, and then blows it. Buzzer beater, no good. You didn't beat the shot clock. The same dude sends Dean Huijsen off and made this situation unnecessarily complicated. I'd love to discuss a lot of the fun things I saw in the first half from this team. I thought Mbappe was on another planet today. Just take a bow. I'm in awe of this man. There were so many good things happening in the first half, and the second half just became this shit show of every defender clear. Courtois coming up big. These ridiculous clearances from Militao and Tchouaméni, and we had something I thought I'd never see. Carreras, Fran Garcia left wing combo. I was okay. That's another talking point.
Straight out of Emery's book, tactical book, the double fullback thing. Yeah.
I mean, even unpacking Xabi Alonso in this game is an entire thing on its own. But I think we have to start there just because it is literally a huge talking point. It is what made this game so complicated. Dean Huijsen, in that situation, sees Militao right there, sees that he's basically on the halfway line. There's about 40 yards left to go. The angle is not dead on. It's to the side. Anyone, my son can come in here right now, my four-year-old, and can tell us right now that's not a clear-cut chance. That's not a goal-scoring chance. And Huijsen makes a calculated decision to make a professional foul and take the yellow. And to everybody's shock, except the referee who had thought about this moment basically since he woke up this morning, he's like, I can't wait to be the center of attention today, gives the red card. one of the harshest things. Now, I will say there's like a separate discussion of like what Huijsen decided to do was pretty risky. Probably didn't need to do that. He could have was it Oyarzabal in that situation, I think.
I think so, yeah.
He could have probably entrusted Courtois and Militao to close the angle. He took the risk. Probably shouldn't have done that, but it's like a separate conversation. So this is something that happens, and this is a huge turning point in the game.
Could have easily decided the game, actually. And yeah, about Huijsen's decision, I think it was the wrong one, and not because the red card was at stake in that particular play, but just because I think a yellow there in that particular play wasn't even needed. I think it wasn't up. I don't think it was a very particularly dangerous play for Real Madrid, that far away from Courtois. So I think Dean should have let the attacker through and just let Militao and even himself take care of it, because I don't think Oyarzabal had enough to reach a true scoring position.
You sent this tweet in the private chat. I'm just sharing it on the screen. What was the first picture? Was that Celta Barça?
Real Sociedad Barça, I think.
Real
Or
Sociedad.
Celta Barça, I think. Yeah, maybe it's Celta, yeah.
I just remember Celta came to
I
mind.
don't remember the particular play.
There was a Celta game last year which was wild against Barca, where Rafinha also just goes apeshit and doesn't get a red card. It was very bizarre. So yeah, here we are, man. La Liga. Thanks, guys. Thanks. We would love to just sit here and talk about football. Thanks, La Liga, for making it. Oh boy. All right. Let's start from the top. Xabi Alonso opts to rest the South Americans who traveled during the international break.
Right.
Fede Valverde gets some rest. Franco Masantuono gets some rest. Obviously, Fede comes in the second half at halftime for Brahim to try to stabilize and balance the team after the red card. And Brahim was a no-show in the first half anyway, so it seemed like a good decision to me. I think like right from the get-go, the attitude of the team was good. What was it, like the second or third minute? Carvajal plays that beautiful ball into the right half space to Mbappe. Mbappe shows terrific composure, dances around the keeper, finds Goulet. Goulet scores. You know what? Sorry to bring the referee back into it. What always strikes me about these, like, we don't get any replays of these, the Huijsen red card or the Goulet disallowed goal. I feel like when it's anyone else, it's just like we just get torched with replays. It's like a machine gun of replays in our face. Meanwhile, we're like, I'm searching online for a replay because we didn't get any replays on the broadcast. That's another thing. Now,
and I don't know about your broadcast, Kiyan. I briefly talked about this the other day. Spanish TV broadcast, neutral. No, I'm not saying about the images, but the commentators. Yeah, Spanish TV broadcast, and this is obviously not Barça TV. Saying after the red card, oh, the VAR is only supposed to intervene when it's an obvious mistake. They're clearly letting Gil Manzano's interpretation of the play, be the right and the decisive thing here. So yeah, this is a clear effort from La Liga and the Spanish Football Federation to make sure that VAR isn't used as often as it was used in the past. They're only trying to implement it when it's just an obvious mistake. Blah 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 blah. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy stuff we're seeing week in and week out. It's just you don't watch a single game without any of this shit happening, man. It's just week in and week out we have to put up with this. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So beyond that, I mean, so Goulet scores a goal, and I mean, I think our compilation of disallowed goals is pretty sexy this season. You had the Mbappe, the Goulet to Mbappe goal against Mallorca, I think it was. That was the one where his hair was offside. Right. And then this one was a really beautiful disallowed goal. Like from everyone from Carvajal to Mbappe and Goulet played it really well. And then, of course, it was not long after that Mbappe actually scores. And it's this, you can't make it up, a dude named Guti who played a ball like Guti to Mbappe and set Mbappe up. And I think I don't think it got lost. I think most people realized, but to me, when I was looking at it, it's like he made that chance look so easy. There was a defender there he still had to deal with, and he just erased them with one touch. And then the finish was like he just smacks it in like so easily from that. It was like it was there's a something that he's playing with right now. There's a bounce he's playing with that I can't really quite explain. But immediately when he latched onto that pass from Gotti, I was like, that's a goal. He's not missing that. Seconds after that, he cuts in from the left, hits the post. He has these outrageous dribbling sequences. There was one nutmeg he had in the second half where the entire Anoeta Stadium was just like, whoa. It was like an opposing player. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Obviously, incredible to set up Goulet for the second goal. This Goulet-Mbappe connection has been one of the most fun things to watch. I'm missing things, but he had some outrageous dribbling sequences tonight, and he's just operating at a level that, despite all of his numbers, I don't think we've seen him operate at Real Madrid at this level. Like, I think he's just on a different dimension right now.
He's 3 tiers above anyone else on the team right now. It's just that simple. He's very clearly the leader of the team. Untouchable with his dribbling ability. We've talked about this many times, but I don't know if, in most of the audience here on the post-game show maybe have heard us talking about maybe quite some of the maybe 4 or 5 kilos Mbappe dropped off his muscle have helped him recover some of his dribbling ability in his explosion in his first explosion, right? His first burst of acceleration. I think he's recovered some of this part of that game, of his game that wasn't quite there last year, even though he obviously still produced a very good number of goals. So Mbappe is definitely above anyone else on the team right now. Clearly untouchable. You just have to hope that he stays healthy, because if he does, I think that he will be able to keep this good form going for sure.
Well, you touched on it, but I think it's important to note it's not just goals, because I think like that was an unfair criticism he got last year. It's like, okay, what's the point of all these goals? Real Madrid not winning. He's not helping the team win. Just look at his link-up play. I mean, he's dropping in all these channels and holding the ball. He's taking care of the ball. He's setting up his teammates. He's breaking lines. His link-up play has been outstanding, and gotta hand it to him. And I wasn't sure if he could do it, but his defending has been great too. Gotta hand it to him on all fronts, man. This is a special player right now. I don't think there's anyone in the world operating at his level.
The dribbling ability, though, is huge to me. I think recovering this version of Mbappe capable of breaking and dribbling past maybe even 2 lines of defenders is just huge for Real Madrid, especially when Vinicius isn't quite clicking so far. So yeah.
Xabi Alonso quotes after the game. He's the away coach, so he speaks first in the press conference. He says, "I don't want to give the sending off too much importance in the press conference. I've already given my opinion. It affected the game." And then he was asked again, like, what about Huijsen's decision? And he says, I was relieved at the end of the game. I was angry and then relieved with the team's victory. Yes, it was
I think he was, right? Huijsen was. That's the tweet I read anyway. And Huijsen wasn't happy with his own decision, with Huijsen's decision. But then after the game, after the win, he was relieved. Not Alonso, Huijsen though.
Okay.
Like Alonso didn't like that's the tweet I read anyway. Maybe there, something's lost in translation here and there, but yeah.
Okay. Depending on which account tweeted it,
right.
You never know. But these are directly from Marca's post game. But he says they were avoidable actions because, so he explains why it wasn't red card. There were too many yards, and Oyarzabal didn't have control of the ball. That was Xabi's assessment. By the way, he touched on the Rudiger injury and how it's a shame. Because remember, you and I were recording the mailbag as the Rudiger news came through, and it was like, Xabi jinxed it with saying that everybody came back healthy. And he says after the game, it's a shame. I had just said that, and then he got injured. So I thought just other positive things in the first half, Lucas. I thought both fullbacks were very strong defensively. Offensively, I think Tchouaméni had some terrific reads. Goulet, I think in this role is not just a playmaker, but he's getting in the box and crashing the box. And he scored two. He scored three altogether. One of them was disallowed in the last two games, so two technically speaking. But he's crashing the box. He's getting into goal scoring positions. He's putting those chances away. I think in the second half he just got a little bit tired. He had one really great through ball to Fran Garcia, which I think if it was Rodrigo instead of Fran Garcia, that becomes a goal. But Ceballos, I think was pretty strong in the first half as well.
The whole team was good, Kiyan. That's the thing. I think that was a very solid and composed performance until the red card. Really, the red card obviously ruined
even in the first half after the red card, I thought we responded well, just to buy ourselves time until halftime. And I thought the Fede decision to bring Fede in at halftime made sense to me as well.
Yeah,
I think the second half is a combination of we've been struggling in second halves this season. Then this one also had the added element of the red card, and so now you're treading water. And then you had the third element, which is Real Sociedad being much more aggressive. And I think we just couldn't get a foothold of the ball, and our transition attack, apart from Mbappe, wasn't great. I think Vinny, for what it's worth, worked hard again defensively today. Offensively, he doesn't look nearly as sharp. And I have to say, and I always preface this stuff by saying that, Xabi Alonso is a much smarter person than me, especially when it comes to football. But probably everything. But I just thought it was interesting that he brought Fran Garcia in and not Rodrigo, because I would have thought Rodrigo will put the defensive effort in on the left wing. Plus, he'll help you in transition, because that's the only way we were going to hurt them at this point was in transition. And then I think we just kind of left Mbappe on his own at that point in transition. I think that hurt our attack. Did it help defensively? I mean, I don't know. I don't know necessarily how much Fran and Carreras, that tandem together, was what got us over the finish line. I think Asensio came in and was solid with his clearances. Tchouaméni and Militao both were great. Militao deserves another shout. One more thing, Lucas, that I forgot to touch on. It's very clear to me that we're putting in some work on set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We were those Goulet balls were all great. Huijsen, Militao, Tchouaméni, these guys were all forces. Even Carvajal, on set pieces, we were a complete threat. Yeah. We haven't been a threat on set pieces in ages. And it's very clear that they're working on stuff in training. They're trying it. They had that one little cool one in the first half where Goulet pings it to the far post. Huijsen redirects it into the near post. Militao scores. I mean, Militao almost scored. I like what we're doing with set pieces.
Let's be honest, apart from the team quite clearly working on that aspect of the game, they also have a world-class player taking corners and set pieces now.
Yeah.
And they didn't last year because he was spending most of the time on the bench. That's a pretty obvious improvement and an upgrade, right? Having Arda Güler, who is world-class, his touch and his crosses of corner kicks and free kicks is just world-class, really. I cannot think of maybe 5 or 10 players in world football better than him at that particular aspect of the game. So that definitely helps.
Yeah. Let's take a few super chats that are rolling in. Before we do that, I also did want to give a shout out to our friends over on Moji-Mates. You guys have to see this. It's incredible, the stuff that they're putting out right now. Lucas, I know you're a big Moji-Mates fan.
Yes, sir.
And you have a bunch of Moji-Mates swag. I have a bunch of Moji-Mates swag. I put the link on the bottom of the screen, moji-mates.com, moji-mates.com. Look at this stuff, guys. Guys, if you haven't stocked up, they got every iconic Real Madrid celebration you can think of from all of our legends. And you got different versions of Cristiano Ronaldo. You got Benzema. You got this really iconic 2016, 2017 purple shirt, Cristiano noodle hair, Champions League final. There's so many good things. Modric, Bale, go to moji-mates.com and make sure you pick up your Real Madrid swag. Super chats, Lucas. This will take us in the
Quick
direction.
reaction by Huijsen, by the way. He published a story on Instagram account, black background, saying, "Thank you, team, for being so good. I love you." And 2 white hearts. So yeah, Huijsen kind of taking maybe some accountability on his decision, even though obviously the red card shouldn't have happened anyway.
Well, you and I were talking about the Espanyol game on the 20th being the
Right.
game that Real Madrid might rotate a lot. You're without Rudiger and House in that game, so
Right.
Was it going to be Militao Asensio, you think? Militao Alaba?
I
Combination
think
of one of
so.
those.
I think Militao will probably rotate now against Marseille, with Huijsen obviously playing that one.
Yeah.
So maybe Militao will be fresher against Espanyol as well. So I expect maybe Asensio to play against Marseille. We'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised. I actually, believe it or not, I took on the initiative of watching the Marseille game yesterday.
Uh-huh.
They looked pretty good at home against Lorient. Mind you, they had a man advantage for most of the game.
They were
Makes sense.
practicing for La Liga, but unfortunately they will not be facing Real Madrid in La Liga.
Right. The huge issue with being thin is that the remaining players get run into the ground. And every time Militao went down,
your heart
I was
stopped,
like, my heart like literally was stopping. It was scary, man, because there were a couple. They were rough on him today.
Yeah.
So I just hope that Militao now doesn't get run into the ground, and I just hope everything will be okay. All right, super chats. Oscar says, not great. Dean's decision making during critical time was poor. Risking a red card was silly, and we suffered, as one would say, expected more control.
I think you were controlling the game just fine before the red card, and then obviously the red card changed everything. You cannot. It's very hard to control a football game in La Liga away against a quality team like Real Sociedad when you're playing with 10 and they have 11 guys on the field. Maybe you can control it for 10, 15 minutes and all that, but it's you have to expect the opposition to take control and gain control after that. So about his decision, I think that the yellow card wasn't worth it even. Like, to me, the red card never crossed my mind, really.
Yeah.
But I thought, don't take the yellow card in such a neutral opportunity, not very obvious to me. So I was frustrated with his decision to take the yellow card, but definitely the red card wasn't expected. So yeah, I can agree with it being a somewhat poor decision. Yeah,
that was my take as well. I think the red card was ridiculous. There's no way in hell that's a red card. And also, I think Housen should have just let Oyarzabal go, because I don't think he was going anywhere. I think I think you could have just taken that gamble. A couple referee ones in a row. Daniel Smith says, I'll say it again, and I constantly bring it up. These are the highest paid refs in Europe. How? Just how? And Nishlish Patel says, Kiyan, I think it's time we own the ref criticism talks, because that's what's left of this league now, which otherwise could potentially be great.
It's just the referee thing. I don't care how much they're paid. The fact of the matter is they never go to quality tournaments. Like, I think not a single one of the Spanish referees actually went to work for the FIFA Club World Cup, right? So yeah, that actually says a lot about the quality of their product right now.
I have a very radical solution to this, and that is I would outsource referees, which I understand is not possible. So you're not going to do that, because you guarantee some level of neutrality in that situation. If you have someone come in who has zero allegiance to Spanish football, English refs, whatever, it's not going to happen. I understand that. So
it's a good idea, though. Why couldn't it happen? Like, and all across Europe, by the way, why not? Why don't you let, like, maybe a rotation of referees even? Why don't you let English referees take care of La Liga 1 year, then next year it's France's turn? Obviously, you have to, like, make sure that it's only the elite competitions in Europe, because otherwise the quality of the referees wouldn't be as good. But France, England, Italy, maybe even Portugal, obviously Germany, why don't you create like a pool of referees and let these countries cover each and every single? It's a good idea to me. I actually never had thought about this, but again, one year it's the British referees' turn to take care of La Liga. Next year is the Germany's referees' turn to take care of La Liga, and then it will be good to me. Yeah.
The way I would do it, and again, it's radical. It's not going to happen. But all the best European referees, and it's organized by UEFA, and they're allocated all across Europe, and you're not allowed to referee within the country you're from. Very similar to like when, you're not allowed to referee the same country in a World Cup. You
Sure.
can't, obviously.
The
Same
Champions
idea.
League even.
Yeah, exactly. And I would just do it like that. Again, it's too radical. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So that's not a realistic solution. It's just something that I think would at least help some of this. The other thing is like, why not hold these guys accountable? This is the same dude who blew Bellingham's buzzer beater off and in the Mestalla. We bench players for being out of form. If you have a poor performance, you get a job review. 3 strikes, you might get fired. Why are the referees never held accountable for their mistakes? Why is like, okay, cool, see you next week?
And Gil Manzano, by the way, was one of the few referees we were kind of quote unquote happy with over the last 5 or 6 years, but definitely that has changed. Yeah.
Let's move on. Nelson says, we're trying to defend a lead with 6 to 7 minutes left. A man down and Mbappe is just walking around like defending is below his pay grade. Hey guys, have you just like tried to be happy? This is like, imagine the best player in the world right now does everything to get you to the finish line, works his ass off on defense. In the second half, he's gassed. He's playing in transition by himself. That's what you remember? That's what you take away? That's my answer to this.
You're asking too much out of him in terms of, especially in this game, because he was single-handedly leading the offense and going after each and every single of Real Madrid's transition opportunities. So him chasing down the Real Sociedad defenders with 3 or 4 minutes left in the game is not realistic at this point, in my opinion.
My take on this is that it's probably someone who just does not like Mbappe in general. Daniel Smith says, so how many games is Dean going to miss? If it's more than one, it just further proves La Liga isn't even trying to hide their biases anymore. We won't have confirmation on this probably until tomorrow, right? Or Monday. But
Real Madrid are going to appeal the red card. This is breaking news. I got confirmation from a Real Madrid source that they are going to appeal. If the appeal is successful, he would not be forced to miss any games, because I would expect the red card to be downgraded to a yellow card. And if the appeal doesn't go through because reasons, he would miss Espanyol at home and then Levante away. Those are the 2 games he would miss. His first game, I would say, his first La Liga game back would be the derby against Atletico. But obviously, he will be available against Marseille next week.
Yeah. Anthony Tharp says 12 points out of 12. 8 goals scored. Only 2 allowed. Mbappe looking like El Fenomeno. All while La Liga is doing its best for I Liga.
I think it's a very good start of the season for Real Madrid, for sure. I think, and I'm seeing improvements each and every with the passing of each and every single game. Each and every single game, I'm seeing new things, new stuff that gets me encouraged and excited about the potential of this team. Yeah, I still have to see how Alonso decides to piece everything together when Bellingham comes back, because I would expect Güler to move to the right wing at this point, considering that that's quite possibly the weakest spot on the squad right now. Güler is playing so well that you obviously don't want to drop him for Bellingham and then start Brahim or Rodrigo on the right. So I would expect Güler to move to the right in this particular system, but maybe he would change the system itself and we will see a different formation. But pending this Bellingham return and how the team looks after that, because I do think that they will the team itself will need some time to figure things out after Bellingham comes back. It's a good start of the season. Yeah.
Can I give you an optimistic take on the second half?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, this is only because Real Madrid won the game. And just trust me, like, even if, because Real Sociedad were not far away from scoring an equalizer. And if they had, this conversation becomes totally different. The referees section of this podcast, which was already long, would have been much longer. We would have been criticizing that second half even more.
Yep.
We got it. We got the job done. We got the W. Cliche, lame, I know, but these are the points. These are the games that win you the league at the end. You got to just get the job done, get the 3 points, get the hell out of there, regroup. My optimistic take on the second half, which I don't think was good, other than I think it was heroic.
Right.
I
They
thought
rallied together. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first half was probably the best half we've played all season. I think the second half was, how do I put it? I think it was a team bonding half.
Right.
Where everyone was like high-fiving each other, getting the job done, putting their bodies on the line, flying slide challenges, blocking shots, regrouping, and then facing these onslaught and waves of attack together.
Yep.
And Chouameni was speaking about it after the game. He said, we couldn't keep the ball after the red card. We had to defend more. It was against a quality team, and we fought as a team. And with hard work, everything turns out. And he's also talking about, it was also his 150th game for Real Madrid tonight. I don't know if you clocked that. And he's been unreal. But that's my optimistic take, is that it was a team bonding, team building second half.
Yeah. Breaking news from Real Madrid TV, by the way. Real Madrid are, and this is quote, Real Madrid are preparing the paperwork with what happened last season and during these first 4 weeks, and they will send that paperwork to FIFA so that they take note of what's happening in La Liga referee-wise. This is translation from Real Madrid TV.
What does that actually mean? What's going to happen? From honestly, what comes out of that? What is FIFA going to do?
I don't think they are qualified or they have the right to do anything, really. I'm not an expert on how this would work legally. Do they have the authority to actually investigate something? I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure they have that kind of authority, to be honest. It's not a FIFA sanctioned competition, right?
As far as I know, no. But I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, regardless, I expect zero anything to come.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. One more thing on the second half. Actually, many more things. I just realized there's actually a lot we kind of glossed over that we can kind of go back to, but the penalty we conceded, the handball,
Mm-hmm.
I think Fede Valverde, that's kind of on Fede. Because he gets beat way too easily, and he's supposed to be the fresh legs in that moment. And then, I don't think there's anything really Carvajal could have done about the handball. I'm not going to blame him. I think Fede needed to be better defensively in that moment. But overall, again, I thought it was a solid. I mean, again, heroic just in the sense that you got the job done, you rallied together, you fought off the onslaught, and defensively, all your deep defenders did really well. Were you surprised about the subs? And I know obviously the red card kind of dictated it. At one point, we had every single defender in the squad on the field, basically, but we didn't get Gonzalo Garcia again. We didn't get Massantuono at all. And I kind of go back to it. I'm not necessarily surprised Vinny came off because he didn't look that sharp, but I'm surprised it wasn't Rodrigo, and I'm surprised he went with that Fran Garcia. But again, it worked. I just think Rodrigo would have helped us in transition.
I think it was the right call. Rodrigo works hard, but you don't expect him to help as much or focus as much defensively as Fran Garcia. And the clear focus from Alonso was to take care of Kubo and help Carreras in that particular context. Taking care of Kubo. So I think it was the right call. And about Fede, I agree. I think if I were to mention 2 or 3 players who were looking kind of out of sorts, and it's hard to complain after such a gritty and composed and valuable win. Fede was one of them. I think he didn't provide the energy you expect from him, especially coming off the bench, right? He was kind of out of sorts. I don't know how to explain it, really. He was kind of walking around, being a ghost on the field, on many plays, and obviously that penalty is one of them. Vinicius is another player to me who look kind of out of sorts, and the other is obviously Brahim. If I'm complaining about Vinicius and Valverde, I think Brahim was also pretty invisible during that first half.
We have one more super chat, and then we can go back to anything we missed. Oscar says, any chance of Joan Martinez or others promoted? What do you think?
Occasionally, yes, I think so. But very occasionally, in case of an emergency. Like, I think he might be a part of the squad list if Huijsen is actually forced to miss any of these games. If Madrid's appeal doesn't go through, maybe he will actually be a part of the squad list. Yeah. But occasionally, like regularly promoted, I don't think so. And mainly because I think he would benefit from getting regular minutes with Castilla. And I'm pretty certain of the fact that Alonso will be working really closely with Arbeloa to make sure that Joan Martinez keeps developing the way he should.
I mean, those of you guys who have been listening to the podcast for the last year or so know how much I love Joan Martinez. I think I even said it on the mailbag for members yesterday with you that I would be fine if Real Madrid decided to, to look off Konate and promote Joan Martinez. That's how much I believe in Joan Martinez. I think it's inevitable. I don't know if it necessarily comes this season, but if the alternative is like running the remaining center backs into the ground, I'm all for Joan Martinez getting spotty minutes here and there and just kind of growing with experience. I mean, he's still a teenager. He's ridiculously young. So I'm fine not to rush it, but I do believe in his upside. I think he's really, really, really special. There was something I wanted to ask you. I can't remember what it was.
Any thoughts about Vinicius? Like I mentioned him.
Vinicius, similar to, I think, the first game, in that he worked hard defensively. After the red card, he's doing defensive stuff deep on the wing. Offensively, he just doesn't look sharp.
Kind of actually missed his acceleration and speed on one play. Well, remember that play in transition?
Yeah. At the end of the first half.
Behind, and it was surprising. It was like, wow. I actually expected Vinicius to run away with that chance and then maybe miss it. It was a clear opportunity for him to reach a scoring position and actually face the goalkeeper, and he didn't. And it was like, whoa, what's going on here?
It was, I think, if it's the same play that that you're referring to, it was the Ceballos. It was actually an incredible Ceballos pass through ball.
I think so, yeah. Either Ceballos or Guller, I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Ceballos, and Ceballos actually was a good defensive play from him. He gets the ball, and he hits it perfectly to Vinny. And in that moment, I thought, well, Vinny should just accelerate away. Like, he can just cook this guy. And he slowed it down, and he brought it back. And that it actually did surprise me. So I don't know if it's a combination, Lucas. Like with Carlo, Carlo would often ask Vinny to conserve his energy and be up the field as an outlet. And I don't know if he's just gassed from all the defensive effort, but even still, that was in the first half. He didn't go away to the international break. So I was surprised that he looked leg heavy in a couple moments like that. And his dribbling is not efficient right now.
Yeah, it was a pretty obvious 1v1 opportunity for him to take on the defender and face the goalkeeper, and you don't expect him to like get rid of that and kind of give up on that kind of play when, it was just a physical battle between him in a matter of quick acceleration and speed, which is obviously something Vinicius excels at. It was just surprising, but yeah. Maybe he wasn't as sharp, or he was tired from previous plays or whatever. But yeah, somewhat surprising.
Daniel Smith says Konate had one good season. He's not the answer Madrid need. I'd wish the rumors of being linked with him would go away. What are your thoughts on this?
I like Konate as a player. I'm not an expert. It's true that, people I trust say that he has not been very sharp recently. So, would be affordable. he will obviously also demand a big contract. But the fact that Real Madrid are quite possibly getting rid of both Alaba and Rudiger's contracts during the same summer means that they will have like 40 million to spend on in terms of just pure salary in that context. He will make sense to me. So I would be more excited about Saliba for sure, but Saliba would be way more expensive than Konate as a free agent. So I think he's a pretty like realistic target for Real Madrid.
There's apparently more to the Real Madrid TV stuff.
Mhm.
And that they're revealing that there are actually links to Negreira and Phil Manzano. So I don't know. I don't want to speak too definitively about it because you and I are not watching Real Madrid TV.
I read that during the halftime. Yeah.
So one more thought on Konate. I think he's a good defender. I'm not crying if Konate does not get signed at all. Like he doesn't excite me enough given that he's not the healthiest guy. He's not Bastoni. If we signed him, I think that's fine too. You get him for free, you give him a higher salary, and he's a body in the squad. As you mentioned in the mailbag, and you've mentioned often that you have Alaba leaving soon, Rudiger may not renew. I'm happy either way, but if we miss out on him, he's not someone I'm crying over. It's not like we missed out on Dean Huijsen. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. He doesn't excite me that much. I'll just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
There was one more thing. Can't remember what it was. Oh, the XG. I wanted to kind of go over that with you.
Mm-hmm.
First, I wanted to give a shout out. If you guys are in Toronto, we are planning a podcast in Toronto soon. And our friends over on TAFC Academy, they usually host us once a year in Toronto. We play some pickup footy and we do a podcast where we got to kind of flesh that out, look at the calendar. But if you go to tacsports.ca and you're in Toronto, you have to go over there. It's Toronto Athletic FC Academy, and it's indoor season for all ages, house league, recreational, academy, and competitive levels all the way from U6 to U17. They got exciting sponsorship opportunities. Also, fall aquatics, tennis, volleyball, basketball lessons. Your kids can build confidence and skills in a safe and fun environment. It's perfect for developing skills, teamwork, and fitness. At the core of everything TAFC Academy does, it's helping kids grow in sports, confidence, and leadership in a supportive community. Please head on over to tacsports.ca to register your children if you're in Toronto. Do you want to take a guess? XG, who do you think had the higher XG in this game? Well, there it is on the screen.
I have to go with Mbappe, right? You were talking about the teams?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Real Sociedad were obviously dominating, yeah.
I
think it was 65-35 possession for Real Sociedad.
65-35. 50. Oh, wait, that's chances. Yeah, maybe. I don't have the possession in front of me right now. Second half, certainly, it felt like something like that. So this was the big
difference is closer than I expected, though.
What was the context of this Mbappe chance? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, that was an amazing ball from Carvajal into the far post.
And
Mbappe just couldn't connect with it.
Outside of the boot, yeah.
This was terrific. Goulet set piece. Militao, and then Militao had another one here. I thought this one would have been bigger, but I guess he was maybe it was because he was heavily marked. I'm not entirely sure. Then Mbappe has another one here. These are the ones we dodged. Oyarzabal, 64th minute, which Courtois saves. Carlos Soler missed this one. Sorry, it was actually Durey Khaled
That's a set piece, yeah.
Pablo Marin, that shot gets blocked. Oyarzabal, that shot gets saved by Courtois. So, yeah, another one where you just thank God that the referee did not cost the 3 points, but it very easily could have.
Yep.
Very easily could have. Anything that we missed, Lucas, before we wrap it up here?
Don't think so. Just looking forward to Marseille. Hopefully the boys will regroup. We'll get some news on the Huijsen front and see if he's forced to miss any action during the next few weeks, Liga action anyway. My prediction is that it will be rescinded, the red card.
Rescinded.
I think so. I think so. I think the appeal will go through.
Interesting. I'm not used to appeals working.
Yeah, right.
I will just say just some housekeeping because I'm off to Madrid tomorrow, so I will be at Marseille and at whatever the next game is, Espanyol. I'm going to be doing a lot of live content at the Bernabeu. So on Monday I'll do a Marseille preview from Madrid, and then we'll do live from the Bernabeu after the game against Marseille. And in the meantime, I spent a lot of time writing this massive 5,000-word article. If you guys remember, like around the beginning of the season, I asked you guys to submit questions on YouTube, Twitter, where else? The website, Discord, I think, Patreon. And I answered the most upvoted questions that you guys submitted. That's all on the website right now. Everything from Real Madrid history to the team's current tactics. It's called 20 Real Madrid questions, answering important topics on the minds of many. Go to managingmadrid.com and consume that. And I'll be dropping a big column, I think, today or tomorrow. So if by the time you listen to this podcast or you wake up Sunday, you should also see that on the website as well, including all the other analysis from this game. Lucas, thank you, my man. You'll be back tomorrow, right?
Yep, Madrid mornings during the morning. Yeah.
Madrid Mornings is a segment that every single member gets the day after the game. So if you want to access...
Whoa. He got disconnected, I think. But yeah, he was just saying that Madrid Mornings is a segment I'm taking care of the morning after every game. Kiyan, you got off the stream.
I got
beforehand, man.
I actually kicked myself off the stream. Yeah, I don't want to cut you off.
No, yeah, that's what I was just completing your sentence, just saying that Madrid Mornings is a segment every member of the show gets the morning after every single Real Madrid game. So yeah, one of those episodes coming tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's for members. So if you want access to that and a ton more, including we did a Real Sociedad preview yesterday, we do a weekly mailbag and a ton more, patreon.com/managing Madrid to get access to that. And if you don't have Patreon in your country or you're on YouTube, just simply hit join on the memberships tab of this YouTube channel. If you're on browser, there should be a join button underneath this video. And of course, I should have said this at the beginning. I completely forgot. So whoever tuned out now, I missed that opportunity. Please like and subscribe. If you're on this video now, it's the lowest effort thing you can do that helps grow the channel, helps grow the community. Press like, help the algorithm, drop a comment if you enjoyed the podcast. And if you didn't enjoy the podcast, just drop a comment anyway and hit subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. All right. Thank you guys. Lucas, thank you so much. Members, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.